Damo, my name is Deih and I go by Deih. I am originally from Burma, also known as Myanmar, and right now I am a theology student at Walla Walla University. Growing up in Myanmar is not the easiest life. I have 7 siblings, 8 including me. I'm the youngest. In our country, it's a non-democratic country, so we don't have religious freedom where we can worship on Sabbath regularly like we do here. I remember my dad and my brothers being dragged by the militaries to help them. If they don't want to do it on the Sabbath, which my dad usually refused to, they would get beaten up, and because of that, now today my dad is not able to work, but God is great, and He have helped our families in ways that I could have never imagined for myself or my family. I remember this one day, it was Sabbath, and my dad came back home bleeding, and the military were behind him. They were coming to get food and the vegetables that we have behind our house. They carried me on their shoulder. You would think that's a really precious and pleasant moment, but for me it wasn't, knowing that they did that to my dad. This happened several times, so my parents decided that it was no longer safe for us to live there, so we catch a train and went to Bangladesh, lived there for a few months, and then we moved to India and lived in a refugee camp for a little bit, and then we moved to a bigger city in a 1-bedroom apartment with my 8 family members, and it was really difficult. We lived in New Delhi for 3 years and a half, and we were praying and hoping for a better future. During that time, my parents and my brothers, we didn't have a job, so every weekend when there's a wedding party or anything, they would need servants like to serve food and everything. So that's where my dad and my brothers and my sister sometimes would find a job. When it came to education, my siblings and I went to a public school where they have school on the Sabbath, which means we missed most of the events and most of the big tests we'd have on the Sabbath, and that really made it hard for us. When we got the news that we were coming to the US, we were all super excited and we shed tears of joy, and it was just a really big moment for us. But with that became the nervousness of getting on a plane and going through an airport and everything. When we arrived to the US, we landed in Nashville, Tennessee, and it was really different from India, but was nothing like what I expected. But we knew it was a new beginning, a new start for our family's life. After arriving here in the US, I thought my relationship with God was gonna get stronger and my faith would grow, but instead it went the opposite way, and I felt really distant from God, and I began to blame Him for everything that had happened to me and my family and my sisters. I always knew, God is real and Jesus was real, but I just never really had a personal, closer relationship with God. I went to Highland Academy with my brother, and I hated it my first year, my sophomore year. After a year, that summer, I went canvassing with Kentucky Tennessee Conference. It was really hard. Canvassing is hard. You go out every day, and there was just one specific day I remember I was just, asking God. I was like, God, look, I need you to show me something that you are real and that I can have a relationship with you and that I can come to you. And I asked Him for a specific prayer. I'm about to walk into this house, I'm about to knock, and if this person invites me in their house and tell me that you are real, then I will believe. And that exact same thing happened. It was an old woman who invited me in her house and set me down, gave me water, and she just told me that I know you're here for a reason, and you need to know that Jesus is real, and what you're doing is impacting people's life. At that moment, I knew He was real, and afterwards, I started pursuing my relationship with God and just started reading my Bible. And then I went back to school, Highland Academy, the place that I hated, but after that, my whole perspective changed. I got closer with the dean there, and she shared me her testimonies and her relationship with God, and I knew that, you know what, I can have this closeness of a relationship with God, and I could help people who are, lost and who are just, trying to find something that's real. And that year, I went to Oshkosh Camporee, and that's where I got baptized. Ever since I was little, I always wanted to be a nurse, but after having a relationship with God, I felt really called and impressed to go into the ministry, become a youth pastor, and be there for young adults, the teenagers, and the youth who are struggling just like me when I was 15, and help them in their walk with God. Today I'm at Walla Walla studying theology, and this field, going to the ministry, have really impacted my personal life and the people around me. When my friends ask me questions about the Bible, I am able to answer it, or we help each other and just dig deep in the Bible. In my future studies, one thing that I'm super excited about is to go to Jerusalem to take my Hebrews and just to be surrounded by the culture and the people, and come back here and share my experience with others. After my studies, I am most looking forward to working with young adults, teenagers, and youth, whether it be Zomi community or any community that I'm in, helping them in their relationship with God, in their walk with God, and help them understand the purpose they have in this lifetime. Thank you, ASAP Ministry, for helping me with this scholarship.